More details today about the delay in the demolition of Victoriaville. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The demolition issue will subsequently force a one-year delay for the reconstruction of Victoria Avenue. It's causing stress for business owners in the mall. Additional work will be needed to prepare buildings for demolition. That, the city says, will cost up to $1 million. Lee Noonan is following this story. She joins us now in studio. Lee.
Thank you, Ryan. As you know, we first got wind of the delay yesterday. A few more details have come out, and we spoke to one business owner who says they felt blindsided by the news of the delay. The first stage of work required to tear down Victoriaville Centre should have gone to tender last month, but that's now been delayed until October, with work to start in January, ultimately delaying reconstruction of the roads by a year.
Some of the walls that you'll see within the Victoriaville Mall are actually, they were built when the mall was built as interior walls. They're not built as exterior walls with proper vapor barriers, weatherproofing, and so on as well. So since we are not going to be reopening the mall back up to the elements, those walls need to be rebuilt as proper to code exterior walls.
It was already known that some walls would need to be rebuilt. Others came as a surprise. However, surprises were anticipated. Project manager Aaron Ward says the added cost is estimated to fall between $600,000 and $1 million, but that won't have much effect on the overall budget.
Because when you're dealing with a mall that was built so long ago with unknown information, we did build in a large contingency when we were doing our initial cost estimating.
Ward says the buildings in question are a mix of municipally and privately owned, but the city's revitalization project is footing the bill for all the reconstruction work. Scotia Cowpea, owner of Sweet Cherry Spa, says the delay will mean yet another year of upheaval for businesses in the mall.
Most of the businesses in here are client-based services who are booked up weeks, months in advance. We can't just shut down immediately because we have bookings. We need a lot of advance notice to make our calendars work.
Ward says business closures should be minimal even during demolition. But as both a business owner and vice chair of the revitalization committee, Cowpea's not impressed with the lack of information she's getting.
I'm just so burnt out answering my I don't know question to my clients who are constantly asking me, when is it happening? When is it happening? What's happening? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Cowpea says she has a meeting scheduled this week to get an update, and she's hoping that business owners like herself will be able to expect better communication going forward. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
Ontario Provincial Police have confirmed that one person died in yesterday morning's collision in Marathon that involved an all-terrain vehicle. It happened on Highway 627 just before 9 o'clock. The crash closed the highway for roughly 8 hours. OPP haven't released any information about the victim. They continue to investigate the incident. Meanwhile, another driver died after hitting a moose on a northwestern Ontario highway early this morning. It happened in the Red Lake area on Highway 105 around 5:45 a.m. The victim was sent to hospital before succumbing to their injuries. OPP also continues to investigate that incident. The highway has now reopened. Striking LCBO workers are ramping up the pressure across the province today. Picketers in some areas delayed some delivery trucks at distribution centres, forcing the LCBO to change plans to get booze to restaurants and bars. CTV's John Musselman has more details.
We are now on day 5 of the strike, and morale on the picket line appears to be good. Music and some creative costumes adding to the atmosphere.
We're definitely in it for the long haul. Right now, it feels like Mr. Ford is trying to emphasize that we are not necessary to the people of Ontario.
More than 9,000 workers are off the job. The picket lines are targeting LCBO warehouses across the GTA, slowing delivery trucks from entering or leaving up to 30 minutes at a time.
It's very frustrating. We're all frustrated. We'd all rather definitely be back in our stores working, knowing that how this is going to impact everybody is very troubling.
The challenge, I think, over time will be how will the bars and restaurants continue to be supplied? Is that going to be an issue? Because a big part of that map is you can go to any bar and say, hey, give me a 6-pack of beer, give me a bottle of wine, I'll take it home with you. That's for a heck of a lot more money than you would pay at the LCBO, but it's true for now. So we'll see how long this thing lasts. My guess, it's going to be a long strike.
OPSEU, the union representing LCBO workers, says the prime point of contention is the province's expansion of alcohol sales into more retail locations like convenience stores and what that would mean in potential job losses.
Even though LCBO workers are on strike.
Meanwhile, Premier Doug Ford appeared in a video released yesterday boasting that there are 2,300 other places people can search to buy beer, wine, and spirits during the strike.
And remember, in just a few months, convenience stores and grocery stores across the province will be able to sell a whole range of drinks.
The government also contends it offered wage increases and more full-time positions that the union rejected. Still, the province has been forced to change direction on one issue because of this labor disruption. It has now scrapped a plan to temporarily reopen 5 stores to allow bars and restaurants to buy alcohol while the strike is ongoing. Quote, in light of OPSEU threats to picket these locations, we have made the decision to offer an alternative online experience for smaller orders. Details will be shared directly with our licensees. John Musselman, CTV News.
Health providers gathered in Thunder Bay today to better understand the unique care needs of Indigenous peoples. It's the start of a 3-day conference with Registered Nurses Association of Ontario members and Indigenous health professionals. The theme of the event is weaving Indigenous ways of knowing while implementing best practices from the Nurses Association. It's meant to improve a program focused on the best possible outcomes for patients through evidence-informed and culturally appropriate changes. Dr. Doris Greenspoon founded the program and explains its importance.
Ensure that the program responds to the needs of Indigenous communities and that it's not imposing different ways of knowing that don't fit the Indigenous communities. And also it's important because we are learning, and that's what inspires me.
Working together with our NEO and to work together as a team to support each other and to learn from each other. And that way we can move forward to improve healthcare.
The conference continues until Thursday. One major road project is coming to an end in Atikokan, while another is just beginning. Residents can expect to see detour signs around town as that ramps up in the municipality. Justin Hardy reports.
Traffic will once again be able to make full use of Mercury Avenue in Atikokan as the work on the culvert comes to an end, though another project means the closure of another road for the foreseeable future. The town of Atikokan declared a state of emergency last May after a storm caused the culvert's failure and washed out a 15-meter section of roadway. Now work is wrapping up, according to Mayor Rob Ferguson. He says people will enjoy having the road back.
I think it'll be a relief. People have gotten used to going different routes, but it is a main route, and people that have been here for a long time are missing that, and it's going to be a welcome addition, and it's going to look beautiful when it's done.
The end to work on Mercury Avenue doesn't mean an end to detours around town. Atikokan has started a project that will see work being done on over 4 kilometers of O'Brien Street.
That's a big project. That's been in the works for quite a few years. It's just about an $8 million project, which is huge for a town of 3,000 people. So we're replacing water lines and repaving, so it's going to be a project. It's about 4.5 kilometers of road. You could see that a lot of work's going on in the downtown area.
The work has already started at the intersection of O'Brien and Main Street, with the entire road and much of the sidewalk dug up, though there is still some pedestrian access to businesses. Work is expected to last all summer, and final repaving of both the O'Brien Street project and the Mercury Avenue Culvert project is planned to take place this fall. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
2 area beadwork artists are being recognized on a national level. Fort William First Nations Justine Gustavson and Jean Marshall's artwork is being featured as part of the esteemed Radical Stitch exhibition in Ottawa. Nev Van Pelt has the story.
Radical Stitch is a landmark exhibition of contemporary Indigenous beading, currently featuring the work of 46 artists. The touring exhibition was in Thunder Bay earlier this year and is now being presented in the National Gallery of Canada. Jean Marshall and Justine Gustavson, who now live in Fort William First Nation, were honored to have their beadwork displayed at the exhibition.
I was in awe. I couldn't believe I was asked to be a part of it. So yeah, it was yeah, I'm still in disbelief about it. It makes me like happy that like people are, that they love it and that they feel like a connection to it.
Gustafson's doctor bag is featured in Radical Stitch, which she worked on for years. She said the inspiration behind it was her parents' healing. Marshall did 3 pieces on hometown hide and has been putting energy into smoking leather over the past 7 years to have a sustainable material to work with, and she spoke about the meaning of the pieces.
Mishkiki, which is medicine, and in Anishinaabe Mos, so to honor the moose, and Waboos, so to honor the rabbit. So I did those pieces. They the 3 of them go together, and the link between the 3 of them is food and taking care of yourself.
Beading was something Marshall learned as a teenager but didn't find an interest in right away. It wasn't until her early 20s when she picked it up again that she fell in love with the process. For Gustafson, it was a different story.
When I was little, my mom, she taught me how to bead these like little flower bracelets, and I kind of like got into like beading slowly after that. When I was a teenager, like 15, I started beading, and I've been beading for over 15 years now.
Beadwork artists have been able to use their art to tell stories, honor loved ones, and celebrate beauty. And Marshall spoke about what it means to put pieces together.
Kind of like it's medicine for ourselves, but then once it goes out, it's always like, oh wow, like this work made someone feel like this, or somehow it resonated for them and it helped them with their healing. That is something that I think is really powerful about art.
The Radical Stitch exhibition will be in the National Gallery of Canada until September 30th. Nev Van Pelt, TBT News.
The iconic Teddy Bears Picnic was held at Vickers Park today, giving children an exciting day with their favorite stuffed animals. And thankfully for the thousands in attendance, the park's new playground was open just in time. Jaden Billick has more.
A beloved summer family tradition, the annual Teddy Bears Picnic gave children and adults the opportunity to spend an afternoon with their beloved teddy bears and enjoy numerous free activities and live entertainment. The main stage was busy with a variety of performances, from storytelling, music, and a live show from Signs North. Special events developer Karen Kadoff explained more about the entertainment that families could enjoy.
We had Lana Button, so our children's author, that was here. She was reading some of her stories, doing an interactive thing there. At 1 o'clock, we have our teddy bear parade. So we parade around the park. We have storytime yoga. That started off the day. Then we had Eric the juggler. So he did a great show, and now he's just roaming the park, juggling and amusing kids all over the place.
The Teddy Bear Parade was yet another success, allowing the little ones to take the spotlight, showing off their favorite stuffies. Guests had the opportunity to visit the famous Boo Boo Bear Station for any possible teddy bear repairs needed after 365 days of comforting their owners around the clock.
Talk about the hokey pokeying.
Well, it was like great fun. I was with like somebody baby. I was taking care of him. I was watching him. So I don't want to weigh or anything.
Did you do the hokey pokey?
Yep.
Did you turn yourself around?
Yeah.
Is that what it's all about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
While the event has been around since the 1980s, this year's installment had an exciting revitalized feature. The new Vickers Park accessible playground was finished just in time for the picnic, garnering the appreciation from hundreds of kids during the event. Jaden Billick, TBT News.
Looks like the kids were having a great time at that event, and I know Jaden was happy to be there as well. And Haley, it was a great day for it. A little warm perhaps for some, but we're not going to complain too much.
Yes, it was definitely warm, but it was good to see. I saw an umbrella out there.
Yeah.
I saw lots of kids wearing hats, so that's always great to see because we did hit a high of 28 today, and that was recently within the last few hours. But that is 4 degrees higher than our average high for this time of year. So if you were feeling the heat and it felt warm, you were right. It's a little warmer than normal, especially with the humidex making it feel like 33 at times. So, yeah, hopefully the teddy bears weren't too furry and sweating too much because they needed a bit of a cool down after, I'm sure. It was mainly sunny to partly cloudy, and just recently we've become a little sunnier again. The winds weren't too significant throughout the day, and our low was 13, but that was at 6 in the morning, so no teddy bears awake at that time yet, I don't think. But as we look into our region for precipitation, we were expecting a few sporadic pop-ups, but one really manifested more northwest in the region around Red Lake. And just recently, we're starting to see that break up a little bit into other areas. So if we look into our region right now, Red Lake, like I mentioned, got the brunt of the precipitation today. They had a thunderstorm start around 1 o'clock, and that's continued into this hour as well, which has cooled them down significantly from other areas as well. They're at 18 degrees right now. Other areas surrounding them, like Kenora and Sioux Lookout, were sunny for most of the day. They're starting to get cloudier now. Fort Frances is becoming overcast, but they're still at 26, similar to that of Dryden and Uppsala. Greenstone is starting to see some overcast skies as well, more cloudy, as this whole area north of us is looking at seeing increased chances of precipitation as we move into the evening hours. But they're at 26 right now as well. And then over to more areas to the east of us, we're seeing cooler temperatures. We see 20 in Marathon, 16 in Wawa, and it's actually a little misty there right now. And then over in Sault Ste. Marie, they're still seeing partly cloudy skies, and they're at 24 degrees. But for a majority of the day, most of these areas we're seeing sunshine. Now for Thunder Bay tonight, we're going to drop down to 16 degrees under partly cloudy skies, and we will have a 30% chance of showers this evening, and our winds still staying very light from the southeast. But although we have a little chance of precipitation in Thunder Bay tonight, there are certain parts of the country that are looking to get significant rainfall coming up, and I'll have details on that a little later.
Okay, thanks a lot, Haley. All right, let's turn our attention to international news now. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is in Washington as the NATO summit really begins in earnest today, and the Prime Minister is getting some pressure from the other countries for Canada failing to hit the alliance's defense spending targets. We'll have more on that right after the break.
Putin cannot divide us, he cannot outlast us, he cannot weaken us, and Ukraine, not Russia, will prevail in this war.